Okay. So, yeah, so then what happens? We disconnect from our hearts. And many times we don't know anymore because we're so used to thinking of factors other than what do I love. This brings me to my next point. Okay. I want to make a distinction between what are really our desires, right? From the heart. Because somebody can say, like, yeah, no, I want that person to, like, gosh, I hope, I hate that person. I want a car I don't know, I want a car to crash into her, whatever it is, something bad, right? And what I want to say is that there are many things that we can want that don't come from our hearts, you guys. Because our hearts are where our love is. The opposite of that, many times we desire things from our head. And I want you to really understand this concept. The head is always driven by fear. I'm going to give you an example, right? I can say, I want to do this, whatever it is, to make money, right? Because I want money. I need money and I need money, right? So we can want something out of fear. And the problem with that is that we might get it, right? We know some people can get rich and have a lot of money, but what happens? They are still operating under fear. Actually, I know personally a billionaire who is still terrified, right? Still terrified of losing all his money, although he's a billionaire, right? Because what? That's he hasn't healed that, right? So he's doing this to compensate for that fear. And you guys, you know what the problem with that is? That then it's never enough. This is how you know that you're doing something. Many of you are working in corporate and you're doing jobs that actually you don't like, right? And so it's not satisfying. And you're just, and many times when people go into burnout, because this is the thing. Why are our desires sacred? Because we live in this dual world, right? In duality, there's either there's life in this world or there's death. Like there's nothing in between, okay? And so what happens when we are not honoring our desires and we're doing things that actually we don't want to do? What happens is that these things are not giving us life, but they are taking energy away from us. So I would say they're giving us death, right? So instead of like, wow, I love what I'm doing, it's like, okay, I have to do this, but it's draining and I don't like it. And you know what happens? What I see is this leads to exhaustion. I don't have any energy. I go into burnout, right? Disease, right? Think about it. Like disease is just lack of life in your body, in yourself. Okay, so how do I know what really is my desire? I want you to think of what are the things that, even if it's a little bit in the beginning, if you're disconnected from your heart, it's going to be a little bit. What are the things that, even if it's a little bit, like gives me life? And this can be, you guys, in such little things, like I mentioned, like, oh my God, I bought this cup because I found it so beautiful. Actually, you cannot see the color well, but it's like this kind of dark pink and with the gold handle, and I loved it, right? So when I drink tea from this cup, I have more love in my heart than when I drink it from an ugly cup. Okay? So what we want is to connect as much as we can with our heart, right? Being that vibration. Because if we're in the vibration of love, we attract more things than that we love, right? Okay, so I want to give you today my formula for manifesting things easily. The word here, key, is easily. And why? Because I'm a Latina and I'm lazy, okay? And I'm not saying all Latinas are lazy, but many are. But I'm one of those, okay? I'm one of those. My partner knows it. My kids know it. And you guys, you know what? The universe doesn't judge us. So the universe doesn't care that I'm lazy, okay? The universe doesn't care that I'm lazy. On the contrary, I will tell you a secret. Actually, the more the universe, we can need the universe. The more we need the universe, the more it happily obliges. Okay, it is not like a person that like will get tired, like, oh my gosh, you asking me for this again, and oh my god, but don't be so clingy. Like the universe, you guys, is not like that, because it's like the universe. I see it like this force that is 100% love, right? That always wants to give to us, that always wants to help us, always, 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 right? I think this is why Jesus said, ask and you shall receive. Without, it didn't give us any conditions. It was not like, well, if you do this, if you go to church every week, and if you do that, and if you do the other, and if you stop doing this, then I will give it to you. No, it was just simply ask and you shall receive. And I love it. And it doesn't matter how many times we ask, like, I'm also very punctual. And so I would, in the beginning, I would ask like, oh my God, please make, do something that I'm not late, right? So then the other person was late or something would happen, right? And then many times I would think like, oh, maybe the universe now is tired of me asking for the same thing. What I realize is that it doesn't get tired. It doesn't get tired. It's like, you want my help? You believe I can help you? I will help you, right? Because the universe is always, always, always just mirroring our faith, what we believe, right? And I think that's so beautiful, because this is how you know that the universe is fair. It's not like I favor her, so I'm going to give it to her, but I don't like him, I'm not going to give it to him. No, it's just fair. It's everything is going to depend on your faith, right? On what you can believe, on what you can expect. And this is something that we ourselves determine, no one else. And this is, you guys, what makes us so incredibly powerful. So let's go to my formula. So the formula is, I want you to choose what it is that you really want. And I want to say something, many times when people don't know what they want, it's also because they know what they want, but they think, no, but it's impossible. So no, so if I cannot want that, I cannot have that. So what else? And this is where they get lost, right? So what else? So if I cannot have my dream profession, I don't know, like for example, a client of mine, okay, I want to heal people. Okay, but if I cannot have that, because how can I change from banking to healing people? It's too difficult, right? If I cannot have that, then what else? And then you get lost in the what else. But the universe was designed to be like, no, what is it that I really want? Even if it sounds and it looks so impossible. What kind of man do I want? Right? It's not about how old I am or right or no, but look at me. No, it's really, really from my heart. What kind of man would I love to have? Right? Because then again, you're connecting to your heart, to that frequency of love that is the highest frequency we can have. So, number one, you're going to choose what really, really feels like, wow, that would be my dream. Okay, my dream. Number two, you need to be super specific. You really do. And I tell you why. I use this example a lot. If you have a child and it's Christmas time, and you ask your child, hey, what do you want as a present? And your child says, a toy, mom, just a toy, right? Like sometimes women get desperate. They're like, okay, a man, any man, right? So the child is like, a toy, mom, any toy, or any way to make money, right? So isn't it difficult for you? If imagine that you are this like super loving person and you really want to give your child something that he's gonna love. If he says a toy, that doesn't help you. Even if he goes one step further and he says, well, okay, I want a ship. And I use this example because it really happened to me. I want a ship. You don't know. Does he want a Lego ship? Does he want a Playmobil ship? Right? Does he want a wooden ship? Like these, old toys? Like what kind of ship? Does he want a remote control ship? You are still lost. And the probability that you're going to get him a toy, a ship that he's not going to like is very high, right? But if your child comes and says, Mom, look, this is the catalog from Franz Karl Weber, right? And I want this ship, the ship that is, from Playmobil and with pirates. And that actually is going to make it so easy for you to be like, oh my God, okay, I know when he gets his ship, he's going to be so excited. And because the universe is all love, it wants us to be like, ah, like, émerveillé is the word in French, right? Like, oh my God, like, just in awe of the gift, right? Because it wants us to be in that vibration. So many times we think, no, if I'm really specific, then I'm making it too hard, and then the universe is going to be like, oh my gosh, you're asking for too much, and it's never that. But I will tell you what problem many people run into is that, again, we're asking from the head. Whenever I see people saying no, I mean, oh yeah, a client was sharing that with me. Somebody asking, no, I want a guy that has a car with 7 seats and has a really good job, and like all these things, you guys, are just in the head, right? It's not a car that is going to make your heart sing. But I will tell you what will make your heart sing is having a man that, like, wow, that he can immediately see when there's something wrong with me, when I don't feel 100%. And he asks me, like, hey, baby, is anything wrong? What's wrong? Right? I love that. I love that about my partner. What's wrong? That makes me happy. Right? What brand of car does he drive? Does not make me happy. So I really want you to make a distinction when you're asking for something. Is this coming from my head, which is coming from fear in a way? Oh, he has to have money because, oh my God, again, is fear? Or is it coming from love? Like, how, I remember asking for my partner, like, I want him to be super sweet, right? Because I realized, wow, sweetness heals me. It makes me feel so good, right? So choose from your heart and be very specific. Now, next step. I don't know which step we're in. Let's say 3. We really, really need to make space and let go of the old. What do I mean by the old? Okay, what I mean by the old? It means that I will share this with you. You guys, it's very vulnerable. I mean, my clients know about this, but not everybody. When I asked life, universe, God, for my partner, I was married. I have been married for almost 20 years. And it was a marriage that I had fought so hard, you guys, driven by shoulds and musts. I have to make this work, right? And I read books and I prayed and I fasted and I went to conferences and I tried to make this marriage work so hard, right? And it was always so many ups and downs. It wasn't the worst marriage in the world. He wasn't a monster. He didn't beat me. He was not. It was just that, you know what, you guys? It was just that I wasn't happy, right? We would have to have a fight every week. We had a big fight because he had all this rage against him. And I gave him a lot of chances. I said, why don't you get a coach to work on your anger management? Or why don't you go on a spiritual retreat, right? Journey, whatever. But I will tell you this, nothing happened until the day that I really gave up my marriage. I told God, please, I give you my marriage. I don't want it anymore. Like, you guys, that's all I did. I don't want it anymore. I ask you to take it away. I thank you because we have 2 beautiful children. It wasn't all bad. Nothing is 100% bad. Nothing is 100% good, right? It wasn't all bad, but now I want more for myself. Because, beautiful women, the more we love ourselves, the more we're going to dare to ask for more for ourselves, right? So I said, just take it away. I don't want it anymore. And then I wrote exactly the type of man I wanted, right? Very specific, very sweet, that treats me as his equal, that makes all decisions with me because my ex was like narcissistic, so he wanted to make all the decisions. I was like in this level. So I said, no, now I want to be at this level with a man and I want him to make all decisions with me. And you know what's really funny? That my partner now, he asked me for my opinion regarding everything. And sometimes I'm like, I find it like, oh my God, why do you have to ask me for that? Like I'm thinking, and then I remember, oh wait, I asked God for that. Okay, no, yes, baby, yeah, right. So our desires are super powerful. Okay, they're super powerful. Okay, so we need to let go of the old, and many times, you guys, we've made even subconscious agreements, right? Like we say, maybe to an old boyfriend of mine, no, I will never, ever forget you. I will always love you. Okay? And then these things we think like, no, but I don't even remember them. But the subconscious remembers and they are there. Right? So this is an exercise you can do is what kind of agreements did I make? For example, with my mother, right? If our mother was miserable in her love life, in her marriage, we could have made an agreement like, Mom, I'm gonna be like you, you and me, right? I'm your support. I'm like you, right? Or we could have made an agreement with our father, like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna trust a man because look at what my dad did to my mom. So these are agreements that we can have inside of us that are just going to be blockages, right? So it's not, you guys, it's never, ever, ever that the universe doesn't want to give me this. It's never that. It's always something that is blocking that, but something that we control, right? Something that we agreed to, something that we decided to, something that we are afraid of. Those are the things that are blocking whatever we want to receive. And I find that so amazing. Okay, so let me look at my notes because otherwise I get lost. Okay, and then once you ask God, the universe, whatever you call it, life, for what you want, and you have cleared what you don't want, then you guys, I want you to imagine that it's as if you had gone to a restaurant and you had spoken to the waiter and you had given the waiter a command, right? An order. You had said, I want whatever, pasta la carbonara. Right? Imagine that you would then be like, oh my God, but I wonder if the waiter is going to really tell, the chef, or I wonder if the chef is really going to cook that. Imagine that then you're going all the time to the kitchen to ask the chef, like, did you really get my order? Like, did you understand what I wanted? But I mean, are you sure you can cook it? But are you sure it's going to be on time? Because look, I mean, I don't have all day to sit here. Like a client of mine told me once, like, I tell the universe, like, can you hurry the fuck up, universe? Right? So imagine when you're doing that, I want you to understand you are just being a barrier to that. Imagine a chef. You're like, the chef is like, but you're not even letting me cook. This is what the chef would tell him, right? You're not even letting me cook. By you all the time intervening, you're not letting me cook. So what we need to do, and it is so delicious. Once we set that order, we really trust the how to the universe. Exactly like in a restaurant. We're going to trust that the chef knows what he's doing and that he knows how to make pasta la carbonara. And I'm going to get that dish, right? Like it's just a matter of trust. Realize, you guys, it's a matter of trust. And then, what's my job? While I wait, what's my job? If we go back to the restaurant thing, my job is, I'm not going to sit there like, oh my God, but is it going to come? But hey, waiter, can you talk to that thing, to that chef? And right? We're going to be intervening. Our job is what? If we're at a restaurant, we're going to be like, okay, yeah, let me listen to this word, enjoy myself, right? Enjoy myself, because you guys, this is the key. The more I enjoy myself while I'm waiting, what happens to the waiting? The shorter, the faster it seems to happen, right? The faster it will go. So how do I enjoy myself while I am waiting for what I asked the universe for? That's your job. That's your job. So how do I enjoy my life? And this is so powerful And I want to share this for the ones that don't know it. It's exactly what I did. After I asked the universe for the man I wanted, I said, okay, if I have let go of my marriage now, I told my husband, that's it. I don't want this anymore. I said, and it was a really tough time in our lives. I want you guys to know we had moved to France because our business didn't work out in Zurich. His business didn't work out in Zurich. And, we were starting over. I was 48 years old, starting over in a place I didn't know anybody. And I said, I connected to my heart. And I said, because I remember, like, wow, all the miracles in my life I received when I connected to my heart. And I said, what would I want now? What would give me a lot of joy? I said, oh, yeah, there is something I always wanted to do. And I never did it because my husband didn't want to do it. And it was hiking. Hiking, right? Like something, I want you guys to understand something totally not related to like finding a new man, right? I was just like, I would love to hike. And that's something I've always wanted to, and I never did it. And so I joined a hiking club, and I didn't even know the address. He was giving some coordinates like longitude and latitude, And so I found it very confusing. I had asked the guy who was organizing it, like, hey, can you give me your mobile number in case I get lost? Like, I thought, I don't even know if I'm going to find this place. I don't even know if I can go up this mountain because I've never done it. But I was like, but I'm trusting you. I really spoke to the universe, but I'm trusting you that you're going to get me there. And I'm going to meet the group. And so I took my car. I went there exactly as I thought. You guys, I was lost. I couldn't find a meeting place. Like, oh my goodness. And of course, I don't have the mobile number of the guy. I was mad. And I'm like, what do I do now? And I'm, turning around in my car. And then when I'm turning around in my car, I find another car with a Geneva license plate. And this was in France, okay? And I asked him to lower his window. And I see this beautiful man with his big blue eyes, something I had always loved. And I said, can you, lower your window? So he lowers it. And then I said, are you with the Geneva Hiking Club? And he puts a big smile and he says, yes, I am. And so that was him, you guys. That was him, the guy who's my partner now for the past 9 years. And it started like that. And so I said, where is the meeting place? And listen to this, the best part. He didn't know either where it was. He was also lost. So we say that we found each other when we're both lost. And so we continued to look around. There were 2 more other cars that were lost. And finally, all of us found the group. And we hiked. And I was not thinking of, oh, I'm meeting somebody. Not at all. But that day, you guys, we hiked together. Then he came to help me because I was the last one, in the queue. It was a really tough hike for me because I never hiked. And he helped me, and so he carried my backpack, and he accompanied me the whole time. And by the end of that hike, it was a whole day hike. We were like, we felt something, both of us in our hearts. I was like, wow, that was it. That was it. We had to, and I would tell you, he was also married, also unhappy in his marriage, and that was it. And we said this was a present from life, and we both divorced, and we've been together ever since. And like that, I can cite you so many examples. And what I want to say is this. Somebody would have asked me, oh my God, would you have imagined that that's how it was going to be, that you were going to meet somebody while you were still married and you were going to meet a married man? Would that have been my ideal, you guys? No. But I've learned this, that actually the real desire of my heart was not even sure. It would have been nice to have ended up my life with the father of my children. It would have been ideal, you guys, ideal to never have been divorced, right? It would have been ideal if he would not have been married also. But you know what? Sometimes ideal can stop us from being open enough to what we want to receive. And when we surrender, it's like in the restaurant. If you want to go and tell the chef, hey, but you should use this tool to make the pasta, and no, you should cook the carbonara this way, right? Probably the chef is going to get mad at you and he's going to send you packing. right? Or maybe he will be like, no, I cannot do it like the way you want it, so no, I cannot do it for you. So that's why I call it surrendering. That's why I wanted this name for this class. It's like I want you to surrender to saying yes to your desires and yes to the how, to the how. And trusting that the universe loves you more than you love yourself. And whatever how is going to choose, it was the best how for you. And what I realized, you guys, is that if somebody would make me choose now, would you have preferred to stay with the father of your children your whole life, but have this mediocre relationship? Or would you prefer to divorce, which was something, by the way, that I used to judge the most? I used to judge divorced women the most. But you're going to have the relationship of your dreams. I was always a hopeless romantic, right? Always, my whole life. When I was little, I used to watch telenovelas. I'm sure a lot of you know what it means, right? Like this series all about love. And it was all about finding this big love that makes your heart like beat faster, right? And but it's so beautiful. Like there's so much harmony. I always wanted harmony and tenderness, right? And not fight. And you guys, we've never fought, my partner and I. And it doesn't mean we haven't had tough conversations, right? Because that makes a relationship deep. So sometimes we've had difficult conversations. Wait, let's not ignore the elephant in the room here. There's an issue here with this, right? And so how are we gonna, what do you think? How are we gonna navigate this, right? So, and it is beautiful, but again, we do it in respect. And so we've never needed to fight. There's never a fight. And that, you guys, that was a bigger desire in my heart and coming from really my heart than from my head. The thing that, oh no, I have to finish with the father of my children. This structure, this rigid things, you guys, always come from the head, right? Because it's more proper, because people will applaud me, because people will accept it more, right? It's more dignified, right? My story shocks a lot of people. My family was mad at me for a long time. My sister still doesn't speak to me, right? Because they were religious and very traditional. But there was also a big gift in this, you guys, and I want to tell you about this, is that I had to find my path. I was always the good girl. I was always a good girl in my family. My brother and my sister always did whatever they wanted. I was the one who got, straight A's at school, and I won scholarships to study abroad, and I always did what my parents expected of me. And now life was like, okay, you really want your dream? It's gonna cost you. You're not gonna be the good little girl anymore in your family. But you know what? It was worth it. It was worth it. So finding your path, even if it might shock people, even if even yourself, wait, but no, this is not how I plan my life. Finding our path, you guys, gives us life, right? Because it's your heart that will give you life. It's not your head, you guys. It's not because, oh, now I achieve a certain amount of money that now I feel more alive, I'm more energetic because I have this money. That's not what happens. Actually, right, we see so many rich people that feel miserable. But when we are saying, well, maybe I don't make that much money with this job, but actually I love it, this is gonna give you life. And at the end of the day, you guys, you know what? That's what we like. That's what we want, is life, right? To feel alive. So after you've given your command, right? You have told the waiter what you want. Your job is to trust. You're not going to interfere, right? You're not going to be in the energy, but I need it now, but why isn't it coming? But maybe it's never going to come, but oh my God, right? I want you to see all that's all fear, and it's interfering and not letting your desire come to you. But you're going to focus on your job, which is to enjoy and work on yourself. And what do I mean by that, right? Is I remember at that point in my life, although we had moved countries, we were starting, in another country. I didn't know anybody. We were low on money. I was 48 years old. It's not like I was 25, but I decided to love the hell out of myself. I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm this amazing woman. I'm this unbelievable, sexy, beautiful woman, smart, and I can have anybody I want. Like, I had decided that. And I had even told my husband before telling him it was over. I was like, look, if you don't change, I'm going to have to divorce you. And I would tell him, and you know what? And sometimes when I would get really mad at him, I was like, you know what? The day I leave you, I'm going to have a queue of men waiting for me. I'm gonna have a cure man waiting for me, right? Because you guys, just because I decided, not because I'm the most beautiful one in the world, no, we all have reasons to think we're not good enough, all of us, right? But our decisions shape our world, our life. So I decided that I was like so sexy, so good looking. I had lost weight. I found myself amazing. So our job is, if I want to attract love, let me love myself, right? If I whatever it is that I want, my job is to be in that point. For example, also emotional maturity. I said I want an emotionally healthy man. So part of my process was not letting myself be dragged into my husband's fight. This was decisive. Because as long as, right, some people tell me, many people like, yeah, but I'm attracting these toxic people. And I say, as long as we're being triggered by that toxicity and then engaging in it, we're part of the problem. If, for example, I can say I'm hating something or someone, but as long as I'm hating it, you guys, it's the same as love, right? That's why they say those are two sides of the same coin. If I'm hating it, I'm still entangled and I'm still keeping it in my reality. But when you can see the trigger, like, wow, there's something in the past that would really trigger me to get super angry at my husband. When I decided, you know what, I'm not going to allow that anymore. When I said, he can get mad, and I just was like, wow, it has nothing to do with me. Right? It's just his thing. It's things that he has to deal with, but they have nothing to do with me. And so when I did that, I was cutting my energetic attachment to him. So we are attached not only to the things that we love, but also to the things that we hate, the things that trigger us, right? With money, this was also a big thing in my life for a long time. Because we had gone through that process of, not making it in Zurich, having to come back, I had a lot of fears attached to money and a lot of triggers. And I had to work really hard. That when the trigger would come, like, oh my God, but I'm not going to have enough money. Oh, but I'm going to run out of money, right? I had to really work on that trigger to make it that it didn't affect me anymore. Okay? We have to come to that place that it doesn't affect anymore. And then you know what, you guys, it's like, oh, we passed that exam. So the universe doesn't have to give us that exam again. Right? And we can go on to something else. So we need to identify, you guys, you need to identify what are my triggers, right? What is it that I want and what are my triggers? Am I triggered every time I see a couple outside that they seem happy but I have nobody? So, oh my gosh, yes, exactly. This is never going to happen, right? Or do I use it to tell myself, like, oh my gosh, that's going to be me soon? That's me. That's me. How do I handle my triggers? Do I use them to like go down or do I use them to go up? And we want to use them to go up. So I want to tell you that the same thing happened to me with scholarships. I come from a little island in the Caribbean, poor island, third world country. But my dream was to study in the US. I wanted to do bachelor's there. And what is beautiful, again, you guys, same formula. I told the universe what I wanted. What I would love. The key here, the key word is love. Not what do I like. No, like we can like many things, you guys, right? But it's what would I love? I would love to study in the US. Send that out, forgot about it, worked on myself. I was okay. I joined a university in my country. I started studying. I was giving my best. I was giving my best with what I had on the moment. And this is another biblical principle that says that if you are faithful, that means if you do your best with what you have, it says if you are faithful in the little, I will give you a lot. So I was faithful. I was going to this university, although it was not my ideal, my first choice, but I was giving my best there. And then one day, you guys, as I was enjoying my life, I was playing tennis. I was literally playing, no, not this one. That was for the NBA. I was just in my house watching TV when my brother came in and said, you know what I saw at our school, our high school, our old high school? That there are some universities in the US that want to give scholarships to Dominican students as like a financial aid, That was it. That's how I knew about it. I was like, really? I went. So, and there were like, you guys, there were like 7 universities. And my childhood dream had always been to go to China. Like, I just love Chinese culture. And so I was like, I looked at the profiles of all those universities, and there was one, you guys, one that had an exchange program with China. So I was like, that's the one for me. Right? So instead of applying to the 7 like any logical person, right, would have been like, okay, apply to the 7 and see whichever I get into. I was like, oh my God, no, I would love that one. So I just applied to that one, you guys, that one. And then I got the scholarship, a full tuition scholarship that for today's prices, you guys, that costs like $50,000 every year for 4 years. Can you imagine? Like, this is how easy it happened, okay? So, but the key is that. And when we wanted something for a long time, I know it's hard to separate, right? It's hard. But it's not because it's hard that we cannot do it. And you guys, and I can tell you so many examples. I want to use them to inspire you. Same thing when after I did my bachelor's, I went home. I had a great job. I love my job. And I said, no, but now I didn't love the job per se. But I said, okay, now I want to do an MBA. But this time I want to do it in Europe because US, I didn't like living in the US. I could see that was not my place. Again, because I was following my path. So what would excite my heart even more now? It would be Europe. So I want to do a master's, but in Europe. And this time, you guys, I was working, and I was playing tennis with a friend of mine. And after we played tennis, we went to the cafeteria of this club. We were sitting there drinking something. This girl walks in, and my friend says, oh, wow. I didn't know that girl. Wow, I haven't seen you in so long. Where have you been? And then that girl says, well, I just came back from a master's in the UK. Imagine, I was like, that's for me, right? Because like, oh my God, because I was so specific. That's for me. So then I said, what did you do? Okay, no, you go to the consulate, the British consulate, and you apply, and that's it. And so that's what I did. That was all. And I got the scholarship. Okay? So what was I not doing? I was not worrying. I was enjoying my life, right? And doing the best. I was giving my best on my work, right? So this is a spiritual law. And remember that a law has a characteristic that a law always comes true. It's not dependent on the person. So I really want to encourage you guys to follow your heart, because that's where your life is. If I'm a coach today, you guys, it wasn't, I didn't plan it that way. In fact, imagine this, that what I had studied in my bachelor's was computer science. And I'm such a people person. So it was like the last thing for me. But why did I choose it? Out of what? From my head. It was, everybody said, if you study computer science, computer is the future. You're always going to have a job. You're always going to make money. Right, you guys? But what happened? I was a computer programmer. I was earning good money. But I didn't love it. Right? I didn't love it. So later on in life, it took my life's path to bring me to coaching, and then to be like, oh my God, I love this. And I can tell you that after each one of my coaching sessions, like I just love each session, and I come out like feeling so like so lit up, right? So I want you to ask yourself, What is it that is really aligned to my heart, even if I've never dared to admit it to myself or to want it? What do I feel my heart is calling me to? And how can I be even more specific? Also, you guys, because then you will recognize it. Like, that's exactly what happened to me with my partner. Then I could go back to my list and be like, oh my God, but he's exactly what I put on my list. And I can tell you, on a client of mine, he was a man, he had put 15 things on his list. And then he also said, oh my God, but everything I put on my list is there. Because, right, sometimes we're like unsure, is this really the person? And like, oh my God, this is exactly what I asked for. So what is it that your heart is yearning for? Life wants to give it to you. Life really wants to give it to you, and your job is to trust and work on yourself, right? Like, and by work, I mean enjoy your life even more. Be in the right energy. Use your triggers, not to be triggered and then be in the bad energy, right? That's just pushing our dream away. But use your triggers, I like to say, as a gateway. Your triggers show us, oh, where are the fears that are keeping what I want away from me? Right? Use it to know yourself more. It's like all the philosophers have said, right? Know yourself, because actually that's makes us so powerful. So use it to recognize, what am I afraid of? That's keeping my dream away from me. So I need to use my triggers as gateways. And life like that, when we understand life like that, life is so beautiful. And I am convinced, beautiful women, that life is love, right? At one point in the Bible, it says God is love. And if you think of all the religions, they always point us to love, right? So if love is the force that created the universe, when we are in that frequency, we are close to life. We are close to the Creator. We are close to our miracles. Yep. So I don't know if any of you have any questions. I'm looking at the time. Okay, we still have 10 minutes. If you want, you can, turn on your mic and ask me a question in freedom. Let me lower my music. Yeah. Well, was there anything that was not clear? If you need more more clarity. And I wanted to. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, Kirana. I don't. Okay. Okay, so Karina says, I think I am still in the transition from going from my fear-driven head to my heart, still not knowing what my heart wants. Yeah, exactly, Karina, because as I said, when we've spent a whole lifetime, 40, 50, 60 years, right, ignoring our heart, that's what we do. Like, oh, heart, shut up. Doesn't matter what you want, forget it, right? And just wait, right? So of course we are disconnected. And then it is hard to know what we want. But it's like everything, we need training. We need training. And it starts with little things. I tell my clients, like, they have to buy a book, for our work together, a notebook. And I say, go to the shop and buy a notebook that like makes your heart happy, right? Like, we start training that. Like, what? That's why I told you, this cup, it makes my heart happy because it's so beautiful, right? And maybe somebody else would hate it, like, oh, pink, how horrible, right? But that's why, you guys, it's so important that you find your path. And many times, Kirana, it has to do with our childhood. Like, oh, what did I love in my childhood? Like I remember thinking that, like, yeah, I was always a hopeless romantic. So this was so important to me. And and the thing is, you guys, that I've never done better in my work now that I have my partner. Why? Because when I had my husband, because I was always in this like, oh my gosh, fighting, then that took so much energy and power away from me, right? How do you show up powerfully when you're feeling like shit, right? Again, right? So that's why connecting to our heart and following our heart is, you guys, I want you to give yourself full permission because they are sacred, because they lead you to life. So start with little things. And remember what I said, Kirana, that if many times, many times, I say this over and over again, you might know what you want, but you're like, that's impossible. So you have like scrapped it off. Like, no, that's impossible. So let me scrap it off. So take time, create this sacred space, right? Like we did today, like with a candle. I do have my candle, right? Smelling of vanilla, because it's like one of the few smells I can really tell apart. And and connect to your heart. Like actually, I like to touch my heart and be like, yeah, what would I love in this situation? What do I think is impossible? This is a good way of asking. What do I think is impossible? But it's actually what I would love the most. Let me see. Okay, let me see the chat. Okay, so you're saying I grew up with my mother telling me there was nothing for me to want and working to get out of this story of or thing that I tell myself. Yeah, exactly. So you understand, of course, if your mother was telling you that, right? Of course you're gonna be like that. But isn't it exciting that you get to recover that part of your life now? Like the most delicious, juicy part of your life, you get to recover it now and give yourself permission and realize that it's not selfish, it's the opposite. It's sacred, you guys. It's sacred, right? It's sacred. So train it, Kirana, train it. Connect with yourself. This is also something I had to learn. I used to be terrified of being alone. Like even after meeting my partner, like he travels not super a lot, but when he would travel, I would feel terrible. And I realized, you guys, it was because I was so disconnected from myself, right? When we're people pleasers, which what I was, we're so used to how can I please you? What can I do for you? What do you want? And thinking of the other person. What does the other person think about me? And what do they think when they see me? And what is their opinion? And right? And we don't know about ourselves. And I had to reconnect with myself. You're welcome, Kirana. Right? I had to reconnect with myself. And now I do the opposite, you guys. Like on purpose, I have time with myself. Like I told you guys to prepare today. Like I put soft music. I have a candle. I have my tea. And I'm like, Barbara, hello, good morning. I love you. You know that you're amazing, Esther. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. Like, even if I did something so ridiculous yesterday, I was shopping. That I'm like, I'm so proud of you. You found these cute things for fall to decorate your home for fall, and it looks so beautiful. And yeah, just talking to myself. And a good question to ask is like, what am I not saying that I would like to say? Whether it's to my son or my daughter or my partner, right? Like, yeah, how can you express yourself even more? So talk to yourself. Don't ignore yourself. Yeah, you guys, we want a man to be like, oh my God, you are the most unbelievable woman on the planet, right? And like pays attention to everything about us. But in the meantime, we're like totally ignoring ourselves, like, oh, shut up. And so many times, right? My clients, when they come to me, they're all the time like self-loathing, like, actually, we tell ourselves hateful things. Oh my God, you're good for nothing. Oh my God, you're never going to get what you want. Oh my God, please, you're a joke. Like, this is how we talk to ourselves. So, no, we really make ourselves our best friend, and it's by talking to ourselves. And you know what? And you guys, the wonderful thing is that the more we do it, the more this becomes the dominant voice in our heads. Now, my dominant voice, when something goes wrong, automatically I would go to like insult myself. Now, when something goes wrong, automatically I go to compassion. Like, okay, wait. You're doing your best, right? And it's okay. And okay, things are not perfect, but you know what? I still love you. At the end of the day, you guys, what we all want to hear is, I still love you, right? So now I'm like, exactly, even if I'm impunctual, I still love you, right? Whatever, right? Even if I'm sometimes chaotic, I still love you. Yeah. So who else has a question? This is nice. Makes it more interactive. Let me see, because I don't want to be punctual. Oh, shoot. We have 1 minute left. So, time for one last question. If somebody has one last question. Because remember, this is like, we're all the same, you guys. Human beings, we all have the same desires and the same fears. Isn't it true?
So, Barbara, how do we know what's realistic? So I'll give you 2 examples, right? Just one. So if I want to learn tennis, and if I'm like, okay, I want to be #1 tennis player in the world, which is not, well, I know that's not going to happen. I guess, I mean, realistically. But then let's say, I don't know, if I want a very beautiful big house, let's say. That's more realistic, I think. But then, sometimes it's hard to distinguish between,
Okay.
realism. I mean, I'm not saying, it's like realism. I mean, actually, there is no reason. I mean, I don't really want a very big house, but let's say I'm giving that as an example. But sometimes it feels impossible, right? Or like you could say perfect guy, or like all the big things, right? But sometimes a lot of things feels as impossible as the #1 in tennis, which kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, Ming, thank you. Great question. Okay, if I say I want to be #1 in tennis, is
And
that
it's really, really, like, well, for example.
as an example, or even if I want to have the biggest mansion, like, is that coming from my heart or my head? That's the first question I would ask somebody. Because, for example, being #1 in tennis sounds a lot to me like head driven, right? Or even I want a huge house. Sounds like, is that gonna make me? Is that really gonna make me happy? Is that what makes me happy? Actually, maybe what makes me happy is maybe I just enjoy playing tennis. So I say, okay, I want to be able to play tennis like every day, right? Because I enjoy it so much. And then maybe because you are playing tennis every day and you're just loving it and you're getting into it, oh my gosh, yes, maybe you get to #1. But the problem is with head things is we think if I have that head thing, I'm going to be happy. And that's why many people reach their goals, right? This happens to a lot of men. And in the end, they're like, oh my God, they feel terrible because I worked all my life for this thing that doesn't even make me happy, right? So you want to start by asking yourself, like, even a big house, why is that? Why do I want a big house? What is it I'm going to love, right? About a big house. For example, I say, oh my God, I would love to be in a place where I have a view of the lake, like of nature, right? A lake or a forest, because I know that when I'm going to see this view, it's going to give me a lot of pleasure in my heart, right? Happiness. That is not a head thing. And so many times, so yeah, we have to watch out. The head is also connected to the ego, right? Or to arrogance, right? And it has nothing to do with the heart. So I would say, okay, rephrase it like, even as a man, I didn't ask for, yeah, I want a man with a good financial position. Even though you guys in that time, as I told you, I was in a terrible financial position. So actually, somebody else would have been like #1. But I had already been with a man that had a really great position that didn't make me happy. I was living in a 7-room flat in Zurichberg, for those of you that live in Zurich, right? Like, this is like amazing. And that didn't make me happy. So that's why, right? I was asking, no, a man who is really sweet. He treats me as his equal. And you guys imagine this the other day. I don't know why we talked with my partner, like, yeah, so who's wearing the pants here? And then me, of course, I'm a Latina. So my automatic reaction, like what came out of my mouth was like, no, you, right? Of course, you. Because if you don't say that to a Latino, I mean, he would like go bananas. And then you guys, it was so beautiful because my partner is from Denmark. And he was like, no, I don't think I am. We both are, right, baby? I mean, I'm not here making the decisions. Like, for him, it was worrisome if I felt he was wearing the pants, and he was like, no, we here. And I was like, again, reminded, oh, yeah, I put in my list. I want an equal. So our desires are super powerful when they come from our head, but they come from our heart, right? Good question, Ming.
Thank you.
Did I answer?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. So it's much easier than we think, you guys. And I love it that we're all women. We turn out some men had signed up, but we're all women, and it's even more in accord with our nature, right? We are women. We're the ones that receive. I love the analogy of the egg and the sperm, right? The egg is like sitting up there high like a queen, and it's the sperm working, right, to reach the queen. And so, yes, I find that the universe loves to give us things, right? The universe loves to give us things. Actually, after my divorce, I had to find a flat in NC, and you guys, I saw one flat the first time, and I was not ready yet to get it, and I didn't know, is it good, is it bad, again, because I didn't know well what I wanted, right? I didn't know. It was a town I didn't know, so I didn't know what I wanted. So actually, I found this flat, and I didn't take it. And then, you guys, it took me like for the next four months or 5 months of looking at flats for me to realize, oh my God, the first flat I saw, that was the best place. Like, that was the best place. So then, after I knew what I really wanted, you guys, I then said one prayer, intention, whatever you want to call it. I was like, oh my God, God, that was the best building. Would it be possible? I really said it like that. Would it be possible to have a flat in that building? That's all I did, you guys. But that energy, I want you to realize also, the energy is like if your child tells you like, oh mom, I really love that Barbie house. I don't know if you can give it to me, right? But if it's possible for you, I would love that energy, you guys. 10 days later, I saw this flat. There were no photos. There was the address. I go and I was, yeah, that's the price I wanted. I really knew what I wanted. It's this building for this price. And I had to have 3 bedrooms because I have 2 children. And you guys, 10 days later, I find this flat and I go the address. I go on Google Maps to see it. I'm like, the building! Like, you guys. And so I was like, and when I saw that, I was like, then it's for me. So I had to rush, because then it's like Switzerland. You have to rush to get something. I rushed to get that flat to visit it, and on top of that, you guys, it had the colors that I love, which were beige and gray, like that. The bathroom and the kitchen were in beige and gray, and so I was like, this is my flat, and of course, I ended up getting it, right? And I want you to pay attention to that energy that I use, really, like a child, because we might be 50, 60, and 80, it doesn't matter. We're still the child of the universe, right? And remember also, if your child comes to you and says like, yeah, mom, because you never give me anything, so of course you're not gonna go buy me the Barbie house because you're so cheap. Like, you wouldn't buy your child that house, right? You would be like, okay, it's true, I'm so cheap, and by the way, you don't deserve it, bye, right? But so our energy is so important. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I forgot. Is, you guys, so we're not demanding, right? The way the Bible phrases it is, ask and you shall receive. Ask. You're asking, please, right? It's not like demanding, yeah, why don't you? Right? It's asking with energy of love. So I think maybe Sandra has a question because she unmuted herself.
No, I was going to say something before, but then I thought it's okay. I was just making my note here, and then I was just writing this last part that I said.
So and when you're feeling desperate or bad, this is really what I do, you guys. I just connect back to like, no, I am love. I'm loved by this amazing universe, God, and like He wants to. He wants to. I realize I'm like that with my children, right? I want to buy them what they want if I can afford it, right? And the thing is, you guys, that the universe can afford everything, not us, but the universe can, right? So if I think it's good for my child and I can afford it, I want to bless them. I want to give it to them, and the universe doesn't get mad like us, right? The universe is 10 times more loving than us. And that's why always when I ask for something, I always say, well, yeah, I would love that. I mean, if you have something better, okay, right? But I would love that. And you know what really shocks me is that my partner, he didn't just have this list that I had made, right? With like 4 or 5 things, right? I told you, yeah, super sweet, treats me as his equal, makes all decisions together with me. And I put that he's super caring and loving, like he takes care of me. I wrote that. But then there were all these things, you guys, that I didn't write on the list, but they were in my heart. Like I had always loved like blue eyes, but I thought at 48, I'm not gonna be so ridiculous writing blue eyes, right? Like no, but then he has like the most amazing blue eyes, you know? Like my husband, he couldn't cook anything. Like he could just make like, oh my God, nothing, pasta, that was it. And like, but I'm not a good cook. I don't like to cook. And so, but my new partner, like he's a really good cook, all right? So he cooks. He's the one that cooks all the time. So like there were all these things, you guys, that the universe added, like, oh, I don't know. Oh, because because you have faith and you believe and your energy is so cute. Let me add more things. So like also strong. Like my previous husband, he was very tall and thin, which was never the type of physique that I like in a man, you know? And so my partner, what? No, he's still tall enough, perfect for me, but he's like really strong. And that was something that I also like. Just because what, you guys? Because it's more delicious. So your guy is what is delicious to me. And the universe doesn't judge us. Yes. So I want to tell you, for the ones that are not here and also the people who are going to listen to the replay, and if you're not my clients yet, if you want, this is my job, this is my passion, this is what I love to do. And we can have a call together. We can, see what we can do together. I have packages that are small packages. We can start with something small to get you started. And then you decide if you want to do more. And I might like that instead of like selling like a huge package and then you're committed for a long time. Like we can start with something small and you see if you enjoy it, if you're getting results, and we can take it from there. We can work closer together. But let me see what time it is. Okay. So I don't want to be too impunctual. I want to thank you all for being here. You made it, even though, as I shared in my email, for those of you who got it, I had these technical problems. And again, you want to know why, you guys? Because I didn't allow myself to be like, wait, to really accept I'm lazy. I don't like to work a lot. I should outsource all the things that I don't like to do, because I wasn't allowing myself to follow my heart. So, but now I did. This past week, now I hired like a whole team to support me. So next, for next things, I'm gonna have more support and be closer even to my path. Right? Who am I really? What do I really like? What do I really don't like? And let go of those things. So I wish you a beautiful Sunday today. And I'm connecting with yourselves and with your hearts. And you send me a message on any platform, whatever. And if you want to have a talk, okay?
Barbara, thank you so much. It was great, very great energy as always.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. And
Oh, you're on mute.
unmute yourself. Tell me, Ming.
No, I think I wasn't sure if Kirana was trying to say something, but it's on mute.
She's on mute.
Okay. Let me see if I now, Kirana.
I was not trying to say something, but I saw that someone left one question in the chat.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for this webinar. This is iPad. Speaking of child of the universe, the more specific my wishes from the heart are, the more I can feel the joy. Yes. In my, does it say my body? Yes. I want to jump around now. Head tells me it is ridiculous though. How do I silence my head? Yes. I love it. So exactly, you know what? You don't listen to it. And the thing is that the less attention you pay to it, the more it's going to lose its power. So yeah, you're like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it might be ridiculous for some people, but you know what? but it feels good. And I'm gonna follow my heart, right? And so you're gonna follow your body, and I love it. And many times, you guys, when I wake up, right, this is so common. We wake up feeling already like shit. Like imagine that, because I didn't sleep that well, or because the worries start coming. And then I'm like, no, okay, no, today I decide that I'm gonna be happy, and I decide that things are gonna work out, and I'm so excited. And then it changed my whole day around, right? So we don't have to be victims of our emotions. And this is great that you bring it about, because as women, right, we are so emotional. Sometimes that makes us suffer so much. And you guys, all those feelings that we're feeling are just habits that we learn even from childhood or from our parents, right? Habits don't even have anything to do with real reality. So, and you know what? Even if you have a lot of problems, you can still choose to be enjoyed. That's the biggest freedom of all, you guys. The biggest freedom, because we think, oh, but if I have this problem, oh, but I have to think about it, to solve it. And right, we go into overthinking, going crazy. And when, right? No. And I've chosen, I can be happy here, even though I have these problems. I can just be happy and trust, right? And trust and create more beautiful things. So yes, iPad, I want you to jump around and feel great. Yes, and that battle. You're welcome. And exactly. And the mind is always doing that, always doing that. But the more you step into like no, right? The more you choose your energy. This is the thing also. If your body is feeling terrible, your mind will come up with bad thoughts, right? So I want you to shake. Sometimes literally, I shake off my body like, no, 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 that fear, no, away. Like I've lived enough of my life in fear. Like I don't want that shit anymore. Like, no, really, you guys, we've lived in fear too long. People were most of the time living in fear. So now shake that off and be like, no, life is amazing. Life is working out for me. And what do I want to do today that feels amazing? Like, that's it. Yeah. And ask the universe. I love to say, I love to say to the universe, like, oh my gosh, the situation. Sometimes I have a flat that I rent out in an Airbnb. Sometimes it's a problem. I'm like, oh God, please, I don't know what to do. Solve it. I don't know. I give it to you. Find a way to solve it. I know it's true, literally. And then something happens, you guys, really. Like I had a client now that the Netflix wouldn't work and SFR couldn't help me. And then the client was, okay, but where? So anyway, she approached me and then I was like guiding her and then the thing resolved. So use that. Give it to the universe. I don't know what to do. You handle it. I trust you. I don't know. Find a solution. Okay? Because we can. Because you are like a little baby for the universe. And if you had a little baby and the little baby was like, I'm hungry or I'm thirsty, you're gonna give it to him. So we're the universe's little babies, mini me's. Okay. Very nice spending this time with you.
Thank you, Barbara. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yes, mate. Good. See each other tomorrow. And take care. And I send you a big hug. And you know what, you guys? I really did this first and foremost for me. Because Sundays were always days that I was like, they're always slow. And I was like, oh, but this I'm going to love. So I had an amazing time with you guys. Thank you. Big kiss. And see you soon.